Okay. I started when I was 12 years old. I was on a ball field playing ball, and a gentleman come driving around in a brand new big fancy car, stopped, got out, and come over right down to me and asked me if I wanted to make some money. And I said, being a little leery, I didn't know him, number one, so I kind of, but when he said make some money, I perked up. Anyway, he said, I got some horses over here on the other side of the field, and he says, would you like to learn to be a jockey? I didn't know what a jockey was. All I knew was he said he'd pay me some money, so I was more than happy to go over and see what it was. $1 a head, he said, to get on horses. I said, huh, okay. So I went over there with him. He had a truck and a trailer over there, and he had four horses. One was the first one he put me on was named Blew Through. She stood 16 and a half hands high, big, beautiful gray mare. And he put this helmet on my head, and I said, okay, and then showed me this saddle. Well, I'd seen Western saddles and been in Western saddles when I was a kid, or at home, but not in this type of saddle. But he said he threw me up on this horse, and I looked like I was on the Empire State Building, looking down. He put my feet in the stirrups, led me out to the track, and he says, son, he says, now I'm going to turn you around, and when I do, you just holler at her, and she'll take off. And exactly what we did. He turned me around, and I hollered, and she took off. We went around the racetrack, I think, about 4 times before she got tired. And me hanging on, and come back, and the old boy says, you know what? He said, you got good balance. You could be a good jockey. So he turns around, and we get off that one. He puts me on its full brother. That's a gray colt too, and its name was Hitello. He stood over 16 and a half hands high, and he threw me up on it, and I did the same thing. Went around there 3 or 4 times, I don't know, but when they got tired, they finally stopped. And I'd bring him back, and then he put me on a couple smaller fillies, Miss Gratis and Neobite. They were a little more my size. They were about 15 hands high. Anyway, from there on, I started, he said, son, after he got done, I put my hand out, he paid me my $4 for getting on these horses. And he said, well, now if you want to learn to be a jockey and want to make money every week, he says, you come over every evening around 4 o'clock and we'll come down here and do this again. So I lived about 5 miles away from the little town I was in. I lived in a little town. Well, I was excited. I'd made $4. I got home, I showed Mom I made $4, and she couldn't believe it. She said, wow, that's pretty good. So every day I got off the school bus, I had an old Schwinn bike, and I would pedal this bike 5 miles over to this other little town and down to his barn and get on the horses. And of course, I mean, I got to get on the horses, but he taught me the whole basic part of it. He started where I had to clean the stalls, where I brushed the horses. So I really learned the right way. In the procedure. Later on I understood that, but right then there was a lot of work, but still I was getting paid $7 a week and I didn't care. And that's pretty much where it took off. And then I started riding in the summertime around the small little bush racetracks, and started winning a lot of races. And I got to be kind of the little sensation around Utah and Idaho. And that's pretty much where it started.